I have a daughter and I have 5 grandchildren. I first started working at Wendy's in the beginning of the recession, and I needed a job, so I settled there. I saw all kinds of people from various walks of life coming into Wendy's for work. And it surprised me because these were teachers, they were business people, business owners, executives, and they were looking for work in a fast food restaurant. So that made me a little afraid of leaving. My hours are from 7 to whenever they decide to let me go. As a senior of the crew, I was making $8.75 an hour for 3 years. The minimum wage was raised up to $8 last year, and again, it's been raised to $8.75. What made me feel good about Wendy's is that they're not really like a fast food restaurant. They do cooking like you would do at home. We do everything from scratch, the way you would do it at home. Our potatoes are baked in the oven. We don't use a microwave to cook our food. Our meat is fresh from the grill. We don't freeze our burgers. The food is very good food. I feel that they need to stop looking at us as if we're menial workers and start looking at us as if we're professional chefs, if you will, because we do a lot of the work that chefs do. I think that they need to look at it this differently. A lot of people the customers will come in the store and they'll say, oh, ha, ha, you work for fast food. You're not getting anywhere. I'm not thriving. I feel that I'm becoming a pauper. I'm in debt because because I'm not being compensated fairly for the work that I provide for them. It's a problem when you work 40 hours a week and you can't pay your rent. My paycheck pays 2/3 of my rent, and that's about all I can get out of it. But the work that I have provided for them doesn't equal 2/3. I think it equals a lot more. And I would like to be compensated for the dedication and the loyalty that I've been showing them for 8.5 years. I haven't found anything that they would give that would help me to advance. When I first started working there, I asked about a 401k plan. And they told me that that's only provided for the supervisors. And I was a little surprised at that. And then last year, they came around with the paperwork for the 401k plan. Food is soaring through the roof. I need uniforms and clothing for myself. If I wanted to go somewhere out special, I wouldn't be able to do it because I don't have the money, I don't have the clothing, I don't have the motivation because of the depression and the stress over not being able to even pay one bill in its entirety. In order to pay my rent, I have to plan at least 6 months in advance and a lot of times I'm short. So during tax season, I can't spend a penny. What I do is I put it in the bank and compensate the paycheck that I get, supplemented with the money that I have from my tax return until it runs out. And then usually around the most festive time of the year, Thanksgiving, Christmas, that's when I run out of money. And I just have to go to rent court. I usually wind up in rent court until the tax season rolls around again. A lot of times my daughter will provide food for me so that I can eat here. My granddaughter who lives with me sometimes will take a job here and there, and she'll provide food. I always thought that, if I work hard, that I'll be rewarded for it. The reward I got was offered positions because of my dedication and loyalty to the company, and then they would skip over me. I don't know any crew who has done 7 days a week and still wasn't able to pay their rent. That's not right. I've had a hard life because of it. A lot. I couldn't buy the kids, and I'm gonna cry. No gifts for Christmas, nothing. I have a newborn baby, a child who almost lost her life. She was born not alive, so I couldn't do anything for her except for give her me. And I think it's damaging the structure of this country, the way people are being treated, the way they're not being compensated. This is America, one of the richest countries in the world. Other people who have similar stories to mine, who are living in shelters with their children, who are devastated by the lack of financial ability to pay their rent. They can't eat. They can't buy clothing. And they're devastated by this. A lot of people are turning to criminal activities in order to survive. Eric Garner, who was selling cigarettes on the street and got killed for it because he wanted to provide for his family. I do cartoon character banks, and this all started about 20 years ago when I was sick and I was bedridden. I wasn't able to do much, and I had grandchildren. I wanted to leave them something to remember me by and to teach them how to save. This is one of the banks that I'm working on now, Superman. And it's my first one. I haven't done Superman before, but I was motivated to do it because it's the first one. Superman is a hero, and that's what I want to be. I want to be a hero for the cause of $15 in a union, a fair living wage.
This is a human rights issue to be able to be afforded food, clothing, shelter, to be able to take care of your family. Everyone who wants to, who is able to, should be able to do that. These are the only jobs being created. People are working hard. Corporations are making tons of money, and people feel that they are not being properly compensated. So they've been organizing. They've been strikes, national strikes, international strikes, where they've walked off for an hour or half a day or something like that. And they've really gotten the message across that fast food workers are really pivotal to our society, our economy, but they have to be able to play a larger role, and they can only do that if they're compensated accordingly. I am absolutely a product of all that we're talking about here today, right? I was a low-wage worker, teenage parent, single parent by 30, and doing all these things. Got lucky, took a test, became an advocate, and really did exactly what they're doing. advocated and fought to make things better. Consider that a lot of these businesses, a lot of these corporations are being subsidized by the city and the state, and to provide living wage jobs, and that's just not happening. So you have to put pen to paper. You have to demonstrate when you can demonstrate. You have to organize when you can organize. And just keep it out there and tell that story, because no one tells us your story like you do, and quite frankly, your story is not as important to the next individual as it is to you, because they have their story as well. The universal pre-K, that is just phenomenal, that young parents can now have somewhere that your children can have early child education and not daycare. At the same time, it's all day, so you don't have to worry about that babysitter. We can do that. The health care plan, that the national health care plan that is going on, the paid sick leave, and all the other things that the wraparound services that go along with that support the low-wage workers, it's happening. That'll make it a little bit easier, but at the same time, we continue to keep our eye on the prize. We're winning. You know, it is absolutely a struggle, but when you see the access that has been gained, whether it's in the White House or whether it's in City Hall or it's in the State House, that real dialogue and real conversation is going on around this issue. When you talk to them, they're obviously very organized, and when they come out and they need support, then we have to support them on whatever level. And that means that sometimes we are not supporting these franchises that are treating workers poorly. That most of the time it is what has the greatest impact is your dollar. The segment of our society which has probably played the greatest role here has been our faith-based, have been absolutely phenomenal. So when you go to church, you go to the mosque, you go to the synagogue, have this conversation. And most of them are actually have social justice ministries that are just phenomenal now. And they're doing a lot of work. Get involved.